Hello and welcome to this tutorial. Still, I'm Damian Sserunkuma, and I'll be taking you through Microsoft Excel. Today we want to look at how to use the function of if and how to particularly sort data, and then later we can actually look at how to filter data. These are the few things that we're going to look at. Let us look at the basics first, how to start Microsoft Excel. So click at the start button. If you're running Windows 7, you are supposed to see something like all programs. Select it and you should be able to see a list of all programs installed in your computer system. Otherwise, if you're using Windows 10, you should be able to see something that is familiar, like alright, something like that looks like mine. All you need to do is scroll down and look at Microsoft Office. Click once, and we want to use an application called Excel. So click at it. I'm going to be using Excel 2007. However, if you have any other version, it's okay with you. It's okay, you can use that. Zooming, so you realize that the functionality is not any different from Microsoft Word. We basically have the ribbon up there, and then on top of the ribbon we have the tabs. These are tabs. Okay, so we shall be using those tabs more oftenly. Alright, so the zoom tool is at the bottom. Alternatively, if you want to use the keyboard, just press the Ctrl key, hold it down, and then simply scroll, so the window will keep zooming in and out. So to basically talk about something to do with the cells, this is what we call a spreadsheet, and the collection of the spreadsheets is what we call a workbook. So if I click at that, you realize that this is a workbook. So a workbook is a collection of different worksheets. So what we call a worksheet. A worksheet is a grid of columns and rows. Alright. Now that you know these basics, we need to know how do we identify this work. A cell. We say a cell is an intersection of a column and a row. Where the two meet, a column and a row forms what we call a cell. A cell, each of these cells have names. The names we read of the column first, and then we read of the row. So realize that this cell is B3. So when you check in the name box there, we basically have B3. Then we have the formula bar. Whatever that you type in the cell appears in the formula bar, right? You can actually do the editing in the formula bar. Select the cell and then you can actually do the editing up there. Alright, so I'm deleting the content. Let's punch in some figures. Let's enter some data. So shall work with the names. Then we shall also be working with the subjects. What this person must all have acquired subjects. Okay, so in the subjects we basically have social studies, so SST, we have a subject to do with science, we have a subject to do with English, we have a subject to do with math. Then later we shall also need to know how much this person has scored as the total, and we shall also find out the average of this person. Then we shall also grant them the grades. Okay, then alright, so the names, we shall possibly copy this at the bottom. You can move it down, so just move your cursor at the border. Okay, and it has a 4-pointer arrow. Click and hold, don't release the mouse button, and move it to A2. Release, so it gets to A2. So we want to look at how do we merge these cells so that we don't our word doesn't stop there. We want to click and hold. Click the left mouse button, hold it, don't release it, and then move your mouse to the right, so that it encloses all subjects that we are going to actually do computations of. So we want to merge cells. Select the home tab and then select merge and center. Alright, you can merge cells or merge and center. Alternatively, all you need to do is to select that, highlight, and then you can actually use the cells format, cells option under the home tab. Select cells option and then select format cells. Okay, so the same thing can happen. We want to merge cells. So under the dialog box that will pop up, this dialog box helps you to do a lot of things. You can format cells, you can arrange you can do something to do with alignments. So this is it for alignments, and in the alignments you can actually merge cells. Okay, alternatively you can work with numbers. When you click at numbers, you can actually work with the different figures there. Alright, so you can actually also do something good to do with the fonts. So once you select the tab of fonts, you will have to interact with this area. Okay, that's for fonts. And then borders, you'll be actually working with this tab for borders. Okay, then fill color, you'll actually be working with this button. Alright, so either way can work for you. So for now, let us use this arrange, alignment, and then we merge cells. Select merge and then click OK. So you realize that the borders have been taken off. The borders that are separating different columns have been taken off. You can actually do merge and center. Okay, once you click at that, it will do the same thing, but it will center, align it. Alright, so let's do that, and let's have this whole colored, the background. So you can have the fill color. You check out for the home tab, select the fill color, and then select a color that you want to work with. I want to work with a color, and then I want the word to be contrasting with a blue, so I'll select the font color. This much we must have looked at when we're discussing Microsoft Word, how to use background colors and font colors. So we want to also color that. Alright, so we basically want the subjects first, and then give them a lighter blue, and then white color, and then the rest of this still kind of same color like the topmost, and then the font color is white. Right, you create something like that. However, if you have a particular layout that you would wish to take, you can actually use these layouts. Okay, the number of layouts that you can work with here. Alright, so let's push in some data now. The first, we are going to enter names. So if at all you want the cursor to jump downwards, whenever you type, after typing a name, your cursor is going to jump downwards. All you need to do is to press enter key. So I'm going to type Tom, press enter, Mary, enter, John, Joanne, Juma, Dan, can have Daniel, you can have name. I'm just interested in short names. We have Ammon, we have Amos, we have Moses, we have Damian, we have Luke, we have Luca, and we have Luke, we have Mark, we have Peter, we have Simon, have Ben, we have Herbert, okay, we have Sam, we have Ben's there, we have okay, you have Ian. Let's just take that as a last entry. Right, so we want to allocate these people marks. So to easily do that, when you want your cursor to jump to the right, all you need to do is to place your right hand side on the numerical pad. The numerical pad is that section of the keyboard that appears on the left end of your, or the right end of your keyboard. So we shall basically have the numbers there that we shall be pushing. However, if you keep pushing and your numbers are not entering, it's possible that the num lock, the button for the num lock that is located at the top left corner of the numerical pad is not active. So just push that button for the num lock and the numbers will be active again. Then rest your left hand side on the tab key. The tab key is the key that appears on top of the caps lock. The key that appears with either the word tab or it has arrows pointing to the left and pointing to the right. So it appears right above the caps lock key. So keep the left hand side on that tab key and then press the right hand on the numerical pad. So I'm going to be entering random numbers. Tab, 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 enter. 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 Tab. So that's all you need to do, and you realize your entry will actually be taken in. You'll not waste a lot of time when entering or capturing data on your computer screen. So alright, you can actually use even the arrow keys on your keyboard so that you can be able to move to move the cursor to jump to the left, to the right, bottom, or top. Okay, so don't get scared of the speed. It's just a matter of knowing which button to place at what time. Okay, so that is too much. Just enter data at a higher speed. Okay. Alright, so that is done. Our data has been captured, though it's random. These are random figures. So we want to learn how to use the total. So we are going to use a function to calculate out the total. It's easy to use a function, don't get scared of it. All you need to do is to position where you want the cursor to be and just click at the FX. Alternatively, click at the formulas tab and then select FX. Okay, that way it will enable you to enter data using the function. So click there. I'm going to use the easy way out. Just click at the FX and then select we want to make a summation, so that's why I have sum there. So select sum, but if you don't see sum, click that and select all. once you click at all, move. These functions are arranged alphabetically, so scroll to where we have the S. Okay, alternatively select any and then just type S. Just keep tapping S until you land on sum. Okay, sum is there, and it will even tell you the description of that function that you have selected. Click at OK. Click at OK, and another dialog box will pop up. In the second dialog box for function arguments, you are required to select what you want to add up. So simply leave this entry and click at the button. Click at it and simply highlight what you want to select. Click and hold, don't release. Click and hold, don't release it. Then move your cursor, move your mouse to the right to enclose your entries that you want to add up. Then release the mouse button. Then press the enter key twice, 1, 2, and the function is calculated out. The totals are calculated out automatically. All you need to do, we are not going to do the same functionality over and over and over. It's just wastage of time. All you need to do is to use the autofill function and just move your mouse on top, okay, onto the bottom layer, bottom right corner, right, and click there. Click and hold down the left mouse button, don't release it, and then move your mouse. Don't release the mouse button, left mouse button, then move your mouse to the end of your selection and then release. So what the system has just done is just to do an automatic computation for the rest of the entries that you have. It's going to actually copy the function that you put there, and then it's going to change the rows, the number of rows. So instead of having B3 up to E3, it's going to change it to B4 up to E4. So it is going to be operating with a row 4. This is B5 up to E5. It's going to be changing to this, right? So that way it's possible for us to calculate out data at a very high speed using the autofill. However, we can actually do an additional computation for average, and for average what we need to do is to find the average of these plus that plus that plus that, divide by 4. Okay, so you can either do it that way, or like we said, all functions, as long as we expect some output, we normally start with an equal sign, and then all you need to do is select equal to this cell plus that cell plus that cell plus that cell. Enclose all this in brackets. Enclose it in brackets pretty nicely, and then everything, once you click at that, it will give you the totals, right? However, we're interested in the average, so it will be divisible by 4 because there are 4 entries there. So all you need to do is to go in the function bar, and then you divide it by 4, then press enter. So it will have found the average using a formula. This is a formula. Okay, we don't have anything to do with a function name, so it's a formula. Now when you look at this, what you have told the system, first find for me the totals and then divide the totals by 4. That's what we have just done. However, you might also do it using a function. So click there and then select fx for functions, and then you want to find the average. So press A, keep on pressing A, and then look at average, and then click OK. So what average? Which are the items that you want to find the average of? So all you need to do is to click at this button, click at it once and enclose only the entries that you need to find the average of. So we want to find the average of SST added up to science, English and math. Don't enclose the totals. After that, release the mouse button, but don't enclose the totals. Okay. After that, just press the enter key twice, 1, 2, and the average is done. This time, this is using a function. And function is different from a formula. Functions have the function name. This is what we call functions and function name. Okay, remember when I click at this, oops, I've just messed up. Enter. Right. So when I click at that, you realize this is a function name for finding out the sum. However, we can also write other functions. So I'm going to autofill to find the functions of the rest of the entries. Right. Alright. So what we're going to start with is we're going to calculate out, we're going to find out whether a student has passed the exam or has actually failed. But our criteria we're going to base on the average. Is this person, when you look at his average, is it above 60? Is it above 50 for him to pass? If it is not a 50 and above, then he's going to do a retake. He's going to do the exam again. Alright, that's what we want to find out. So all you need to use is a function to do with if. Alright, so if you simply write because we expect to see some an output, so you start with an equal sign and type if, then open brackets, if, then the system is guiding us, telling us, please, after supplying if, give me the logical test. What am I testing? So we want to tell the system, you test whether something that is in G3, something that is in this cell, G3, right? G3. Something that is in G3, any figure that is in G3, test it and find out whether it is greater than or equal to a 50. If it is greater than or equal to a 50, what will happen? You separate that as a logical test. Separate it with a comma and then tell us what do you want us to display. If at all our entry is in G3 is above 50. So whatever that you want to display, enclose it in brackets, in a quotation, single quotation, double quotation, sorry. So we want to display a pass. Okay, yes, this person has passed. Enclose that entry in double quotations and then put a comma. So that is the value if true. So what if, suppose this test, whatever that we have in G3 is greater than or equal to a 50. It is true. It is greater than or equal to a 50. Display a passed. However, there is another option of value if not true, which is value if false. So suppose something that is in there is less than a 50. What will happen? That is the value that we want to display now. You separate that with a comma and then enclose that as a failed. Alright, so whatever that you want to display has to be enclosed in double quotations. After that, enclose your whole sum statement by closing the bracket and press enter. So you realize that the first entry this person has passed, it is above a 50. So we're not going to write the same function all over for each of the students. What we need to use till it's autofill. Move your cursor at the bottom right, click and hold, and then move your cursor to enclose all entries or every range that you need to be affected. Release. You realize that this person, we have people who have passed and the people who have failed. This figure is below 50. He has passed, and then this figure is below 50. He has failed. And this figure is below 50. He has failed. Alright? So that way you'll have stipulated, or you have indicated that yes, the system is now, it can take care of the decisions. It can take care of whether someone has passed or someone has failed. Suppose we have an entry and this person, as long as he has, his mark is between a 70 and 100, this person is going to get an A. Alright? Then from a 40 to 69, okay, this person qualifies for a B. And then from 0 to 39, this person qualifies for a C. Okay, this is the scale that we want to use. Okay, it's just a scale that we want to use, a grading scale. The grading scale that we want to use. Let's merge the cells. So merge and center. And actually can even give it a different color, different background color and text. Okay, so that's the scale that we want to follow. So let's follow this for scale. Alright, so I'm going to delete out this. Let's follow this scale. The first one has been two-part. You either fail or pass. So we want to learn how to use multiple. This time it's going to be 3. So all you need to do is to put the equal sign and then type if, open brackets, if what you're testing, the logical test. What if this figure, the average, is above or equal to a 70? That means it will actually even affect 71 up to 100. What will happen? Okay, so you separate the logical test with a comma and then display an A. Okay, I want us to take note that we are testing the lower value, not the upper value. We are testing the lower value, but we are testing starting from the highest to the lowest. Okay, so it's testing from the highest but the lower value, and then we shall display an A, comma. So it's requesting for the value if it is false, which would be the same as the first one that we did. However, this time around we have other tests to run. So you are going to run what we call a nested if. It's an if statement within the if. It's more or less like writing a statement that says if you went to school, if you go to school, you will study. That is the first one. Then the second one we are writing, it's more or less like you saying if you go to school and the teachers are there, you will study. If you go to school, you will study if the teachers are there. Alright, that is the nested if. That's what we can actually write there. So we have the if G3 is greater than or equal to a 70, let us display an A. However, if, okay, we haven't closed our brackets but we are starting another if. So if G3 the same, okay, we are testing the same cell, if it is greater than or equal to a 40, alright, if it's greater than or equal to a 40, I'm going to display, I'll be able to display and a B. Alright, then put a comma. Alright, then the rest, if at all they don't fit in A or B, definitely the last figure is a C. So just put a C. For it, you don't have to check. Okay, then close your brackets. The number of times that you opened your brackets are the same number of times that you have to close at the real last end. So press the shift key and then close the first bracket, which is green, the second bracket, which is black, and then press enter. So this person has qualified for a B. His figure is between a 40 and a 69. Look at that. Okay, he qualifies for a B, and then we autofill. Look at those grades. It's B, B. Okay, we have a 34. 34 is in this range, okay, which is a C. And then we have 62, which is in this range. 62 lies there, which is a B. We have a 70, which is an A, right? So that way you can actually write more and more and more. As long as the first you don't have to close. Once you're about to reach the final, that's where you can actually insert the next. Suppose we have the people who have passed with the 10, okay, 10 up to, they have that. Oops, it has automatically detected the D as if it's let me just try to, okay, let me just suppose we say from 10 to a 40, from to a 39. It's going to it's detecting it as alright, so from a 40, the lowest section is a 70 to 100, and then we have a 40 to 49. Let me just do this to avoid the confusion. So let me just do that. So we have from 10 to 39, and okay, I don't know, from 40 to 39, it's just 39. It's just 39, 39 minus 39 minus 39. Enter. Oops. It's giving me something funny. Okay, just 39. And okay, let me just format this to format cells. I'm interested in the number, just not custom. I just want a number 39. Good. Alright, so suppose it is 0 to 9. This person has failed. It's just an F. Okay, so we have the second entry now. We're going to edit it again. Alright, so all we need to do is to select where we want the cell, the function to be, and then we click the if we are testing the same, if it is greater than or equal to a 50, if it is 70, then display an A, comma, or alternatively if. Okay, if we check again if the same, which is G3, is greater than or equal to a 40. Alright, if it's greater than or equal to a 40, display a B. Alright, this B here, this is our grade that we need, comma, and then we run the if again. Okay, we run the if and we test the same same, is it greater than or equal to a 10? If it is true, it's greater than or equal to a 10, then display what? Display a C. Okay, comma. So the last one is simply an F, so you don't need to check the value again. So just press an F, and then this time around we have opened 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you need to close 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Alright, and then press enter. So this person, when you look at the scale, realize that when I autofill, I actually have different cells. So let's make the okay. Let me just select this Damian guy to totally fail. He has a 02, he has a 49, he has a 05, and then he has a 01. Look at that entry, way below, and it's actually an F. Right? And the rest, when you look at the scaling, matches our grading scale that we have had. So that's the way we actually work with these figures. So let's align this text. So I'm going to highlight everything, and then I'm going to use the format cells, select the home tab and select format cells, and then format what? Format cells. And then all I need to do is to work out with their alignment. I want them to be centered. Okay, I want them to be horizontally. I want them to be centered and vertically centered. Then click OK, and they are all centered right there. However, this column, I'm going to be interested in rounding off. I want to round off these figures, right, to the nearest tens, right? So all I need to do is select what I need to highlight or to format, and then click format, then cell, format cells. Alternatively, all you need to do is right click and select format cells. Same issue. Alright, so I want to decrease this point, the decimal places. Click number and then select number. Alright, then select reduce the decimal places to 0, and then click OK. So this will automatically round off to the nearest tens. Okay, so the figure that was 0.5, it will round off to the next figure, which is possibly 69. Initially it was possibly 68. So that's the way we work out with the formatting of cells. However, at times we might be in need to rotate this. Okay, might be in need to rotate that. So highlight it, what you need to rotate. You can use that button to rotate. Okay, at a certain angle. Alternatively, all you need to do is to go format cells and then select alignment. So alignment, this is the orientation. It helps you to rotate these characters to at a specific angle. So I'm going to rotate it to an angle of 60 degrees. Okay, and then click OK. So the text rotates to an angle of 60 degrees, right? So that way it helps us to narrow down which text, in case you are in need of narrowing up your text really nicely. That's a possible way you can actually do it. Alternatively, we can narrow it further and we make it rotate, okay, like that. Alternatively, rotate it like that. It depends what you want to see. Okay, you can have something like that, average, and all you need to do is to narrow down. Double click if at all you want to narrow down the width. So double click in the between there, B and C. Once you double click, it was going to narrow down automatically. Just need to double click so that you really narrow down the figures. Okay, suppose you have a longer sheet, you can actually narrow down that entry like that. Alternatively, you can choose to put it back to its alignment and then select 0. Okay, so format cells and then ensure that this is taken back to 0 and then click OK. So it goes back to 0, and then just need to double click so that the resizing is done automatically to the longest word. Okay, so names can be highlighted and we align them left. So we basically have the names and the marks plus the totals and the average. So you can have this having a different color, which is possibly red, and then this one has possibly green, and then this one has possibly blue. Okay, so the text, the whole text, highlight everything, and we do the text format color to just white. Alright, just that, and your text is really looking good. However, you can actually do the borders. Select what you need to have in the borders and select the type of borders that you need. Okay, so the border button is there. Alternatively, go to the format cells and select format cells, then select the border. Which kind of border do you need? Do you need this border? Do you need the outline? Okay, or you need even that, right? So select that and you'll have the everything bordered. You can have this and we align these ones. Alright, it's okay. So that way it will help us to particularly outline, have borders to separate, that one can easily follow up that have attained SST, this English, and this is my total, and okay, other than simply having a plain text. If you're interested in just that, you can do that. If you're not interested in that, no borders on top, but the rest have borders, you can actually do that. Okay, you can select that and then take off the borders. Select no borders. So we basically have this that has borders. Alright, can get these two, can arrange them, and we merge center. Okay, then we merge in the middle. So we basically have the names and the subjects there. So that is what we needed to do when it comes to arranging data, finding their grades, the average and total. This time around, let's work out with how do we sort and filter. Filtration will require the enclosure of all this data. Okay, we are required to get all the data. However, for sorting, we don't need to enclose the titles. Let us work out with the sorting first. We are interested in outlining only, selecting right from the first name, enclose all everything, just enclose everything, and make sure that all the data is selected minus the titles. Don't enclose the titles if you're running the sort. We want to sort this data alphabetically so that each student moves along with his mark, because we don't want to create a scenario when Damian has failed and he has been shifted to the top and he has a B, yet his marks are left behind. So select all the names and the data set. Leave the totals the titles alone, don't enclose them. So after selecting your data set, click and hold and then enclose all the data sets that you've chosen to use. Then up there we are working with data, so under the home tab, make sure that they move to the extreme end, and the extreme end for editing we have the filter and the sort and filter. Click at that, and then how do you want to filter? Do you want to filter so that you have A's at the top or you have A's at the bottom? So select and choose A at the top. So realize that data of Amon will shift. Let's look at Damian. Damian has moved with his F. Okay. Let's sort and we have A, Amon at the bottom. Just look at that. Amon has moved with his data and Damian is still possessing his F. Okay. So this is the way we work with the sort. You enclose only the data set, don't enclose the titles. However, with the filter you are interested in a particular group of people. To filter, all you need to do is to enclose everything. Enclose everything. Okay? Just enclose everything. Right from there, then I merged these cells. Let's split these cells again. So instead of merge, I want to split. Okay, we're interested in splitting, so we select the cells that are already merged and then go to the cells, and then what we are interested in is in splitting. We want to split a cell. Alright, so let's look for that functionality of splitting a cell. Okay, this is for inserting, and then we have the cells, delete. We are interested in splitting cells. Let's use a shortcut. Let's just right click there and then we split. We go for cells. Let's do it from here. Then we go to our line. We check off the merge cells. Don't want to merge cells anymore, so that the cells they're separate, right? So we move the name down, click and hold, and then move it down. Alright, like that. So we want to filter data. So select everything right from the titles. Filtering, you enclose even the titles. Otherwise, when you don't enclose the title, it's going to mean that it's going to filter at the layer, the first layer of the name. But we want to filter based on titles. Okay. So select everything and then click at the sort and filter, and then this time you are interested in a filter. So realize that once you click at filter, it has added additional drop down buttons. So these are the buttons that you're going to use to filter out some data. We are interested in the people, only the people who have, or the students who have attained A. So the A's are in the group of grades, so we need to filter using the grade. Click at the grades, and in the select all, we are not interested in everything, we are just interested in the A. So make sure that the select all is checked off. Click at it and everything disappears. Then check what you need to see, only A, and then click OK. So the rest of the data will hide away, and we shall get only the people who have scored an A. That's use of filter. If you want to clear the filter to get back the data, click clear filter from the grade, so that everything comes back again. Now I'm interested in only F, so select everything and select F only. So I have Damian only. So realize that the rest of the data is there, but it is hiding away. Just look at the naming there. We have 1, 2, 6. The rest of the figures there from 6 to 21. The rest of the figures there are rest of the rows are hidden. Okay, so we shall basically have only that person who has scored an F. Let's do it. Okay, let's clear. So shall we get people who have scored a C? So we have them scored a C. I remember in mathematics we used to have the people, teachers coming with sticks and they beat us up. Whoever has scored below a 50, show up. So can we do the same thing so that we basically have scored a C and they have scored below a 50? So we don't expect Mark to be part of that group because his is above a 50, and then we don't expect to see Amos part of our group. So we shall go to math. We're not interested in this anymore. Okay, we are interested in number filter. We want to sort less than. Okay, we want to select less than what? We want to select is less than a 50. So enter 50 there and click. So Mark has disappeared and we have the C's are still there, but we have the people who have scored below the 50. Right? So that way you can actually do other filtrations based on SST, people who have less than 20. Okay, so number is less than what? Less than 20. Click OK. So we still have only the 20, below 20s there. The rest of the figures have been actually hidden off. That's what I needed to share with you for now, and hope that this part of class has been useful, has been friendly to you. Try it out. Just make sure that you have a list just like mine. I'm taking off the filtrations, everything. I'm dumping clear filter, then this one also clear filter, and also this clear filter. So have everything like just like mine. Calculate out the totals using the functions, and then calculate the average using functions, and then calculate the grades using a function of if. Have this as your guide, okay, so that you can be able to work out. Then filter off, have some filtrations if at all you need people who have scored A, who have scored between this figure and another figure. Have them listed out and echoed out. Then save your data. Alright, saving your data is very easy. Click at that office button and click save as, and then locate where you want to save. Okay, your data will get saved there. Just locate where you want to save, maybe on flash disk, maybe on C, maybe on my desktop. It depends where you want to save. Whatever, just click where you want to save and then give it a name and then click save. Okay, that way you would have acquired the objective. Until next time, may God bless you. Please keep safe, keep the mask on, and possibly go for vaccination. Thank you.